One more final guest here at the inaugural edition of Meet the Coaches here from St. Barnabas Church. Andrew Della, Piana, Ryan Martin, and now joined by the first-year general manager, Paul Aries. Paul, how's the adjustment been here in year one?
It's been fantastic. I've been working with Salty pretty much on and off for several months now, and the closer we got to baseball, the better off it was. And he creates such a great atmosphere and everything, and working with him and being around the guys and being on the field is my sanctuary. It keeps me sane.
You mentioned being on the field, your happy spot. We were talking about it. We're in the booth, and you forget how many people goes into Cape Cod League baseball within this Falmouth community. Being here tonight at St. Barnabas Church, hearing from the Cooperative Bank of Cape Cod and all the fans in attendance, what does an event like this mean to remember how many people love Commodores baseball?
Well, being a part of the community is such a big piece of what we do with the Commodores. We depend on the community. We depend on the host families. We depend on the volunteers. We depend on the interns. And everybody has their part. We play a small part. They play a huge part, because without the housing and without the volunteers, we can't do what we do.
And your background is in nonprofit organizations just like the Commodores. What's it that kind of sparked your interest in now getting into baseball for a summer?
I forgot to duck. We were a host family. We got to be around the team and everything. We got to know some of the players. Some of the players we hosted last year, we still meet and talk to their families. Mm-hmm. So we said, okay, let's do. And then Bob Curtis said, hey, Paul, can I have coffee with you after the season? And I was like, okay. And I walked out the door, and I said to my wife, I'm like, watch, she's going to ask me to be the general manager. But no, the community, Falmouth, is just such a wonderful place. Being on the Cape, I've been coming to the Cape since I was like 5 years old. My family always vacationed down here. Didn't spend a whole lot of time in this area, but to be part of the Commodore family and the Falmouth community is it's really special.
Here at Meet the Coaches event with Commodores General Manager Paul Aries. Paul, in terms of this year's team, we were talking with Quinn and Coach Saltamacchia about what makes his team so special and so close. And Saltamacchia is saying he doesn't really look at stats or box scores when he's evaluating a player. What personality-wise and character-wise about this team are the commonalities?
I definitely agree with what some of the coaches said, and what Salty says is that I'm in the locker room all the time, and we see the guys and how they interact with each other. There's no animosity. There's no clickiness or anything that goes on. All of the guys, they give each other a hard time. They're laughing. They're joking. They're on the field. They're playing hacky. They're doing everything. I loved it the other night in Harwich when they were out in the outfield, throwing a frisbee around in a lightning storm, which we did get reprimanded for that.
Oh man!
But I think it's the camaraderie of the guys that is what's leading to our success. I actually said to Steve Irish, who's one of our other board members, on the very first game, we were in Chatham. Remember Chatham? It was 49 degrees. But every time the pitcher came off the mound, all the guys were out of the dugout, and they were high-fiving and everything else. And I said, I didn't see that once last year. And that was when I knew we were going to have a special season.
In building this roster, what was your kind of vision of what you wanted to kind of make your mark on year one here?
I have some relationships within here, but, coming in as a first-year GM, didn't make a lot of sense to me to overrule a World Series champion. So, worked with Salty. My job is to keep the noise away from those guys, contribute where I can. Like I said, I had some relationships. We were supposed to have one guy from Missouri that was going to come in that was one of my guys, but he ended up getting hurt. But, like I said, I keep the noise away from them so they can concentrate on baseball and just do the best I can. And my assistant, Nick, and my intern team, they have a tremendous knowledge of baseball. And they would bring players to me, and I'd bring them to Salty. And a couple of them panned out, a couple of them didn't. But, we really have a great group, from all the coaches, players, to the intern team, to you guys in the broadcast, all of our interns, all of our volunteers. organization top to bottom.
And you've mentioned before Nick Carlson kind of being your right-hand man. What's it been like working with him so far?
I can't wait for the day where Nick is holding up a World Series trophy, and he told me I would be the first one he thanks.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hold him to that. But no, Nick is. I couldn't do what I do without him. We all work long hours, and we're there at the ballpark a lot. It's invaluable to have somebody you can turn and say, "Hey, can you do this?" And it's going to get done. It's going to get done well, and it's going to get done on time.
Tremendous and very deserved recognition for Nick Carlson,
Absolutely.
Assistant GM of the Commodores. Paul, last one for me. Talked about working with Nick, also working with Jared Saltamacchia. What's that relationship with Saltamacchia been like through 21 games as you get to know each other better and as this team gets to know each other better?
The team definitely has. The team. Everybody, and we just had a new player come in tonight. He was at the event here tonight. I think you met him, and he was over talking to the guys that were signing autographs, and it's perfect. And as far as my relationship with Salty, like I said, we would talk about once a week, every few days. But in the 3 weeks leading up to the season, we were talking 5, 6, 7 times a day. You hear him mention that he's a girl dad. I'm a girl dad too. We both lived in houses that was completely female for the longest time, and doing that, it has its so every once in a while you need to commiserate a little bit. So we could relate as far as that goes.
And last one I'll have from me. I also threw this question to Quinn as well. What is about this team that can kind of push it over the edges? Commodores still look for that first championship since 1980.
I think we just need to be consistent and play clean baseball. I think fundamentally, if we can clean up a few of the things that we have maybe little lapses on, and we've noticed that we're giving up that one big inning. That we're good for 8 innings, but if we give up that one big inning, that's been our Achilles heel so far. So that's what the coaches preach. We need to play clean baseball, do your job, that kind of thing, and I think that's going to get us over the hump. I'm really excited. We got to get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the playoffs, and once we get to the playoffs, all bets are off.
Sounds good.
An exciting time for Commodores baseball. That's first-year general manager Paul Aries with the Commodores. An exciting 21 games. Should be an exciting 19-plus games with an emphasis on the plus, as we were saying, as this team looks to make a playoff run. Paul, thanks so much for joining us and helping set up today's events.
Thanks, Paul.
You bet. Thanks, gentlemen.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Paul.
We'll be right back from St. Barnabas Church with our closing thoughts here from Meet the Coaches.